My journey began as a social media freelancer doing way too much for way too little.
Couple IG updates today. Instagram has taken another feature from Snapchat. Social media is a branding game. Behind that Facebook and Instagram algorithm curtain.
Until I fell in love with podcasting. Since then, I've been behind the scenes, building, growing, and scaling podcasts for some of the biggest brands on the planet. And I think it's time we turn the cameras on ourselves to share our experience. Welcome to Creative Control, a show about the art and business of content, how to build it, how to scale it, and how to actually make it matter. We're going to break down the game, dive deep on industry topics, and we're going to sit with the people shaping the culture of creative. Artists to athletes, entrepreneurs to influencers, celebrities to CEOs. It's casual, but comprehensive. It's high level, but real. I'm Alex Lagos. This is Creative Control. Welcome to Creative Control. If it's your first time joining us, we are talking to people in the creative space, all creative spaces across the board. Obviously, here we specialize in podcasting, so we'll touch on a bunch of podcasting stuff. But today, we have a special guest, and they're not just special because I'm related to them, but please welcome my brother, Nate Lagos. How are you, dude? Good to have you here, man.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so psyched to have you. This is the first one of these that we're recording. So if you're watching this, this probably won't be the first one out, but this is our first one that we're doing. And so I'm kind of just test running on you right now.
Sweet.
So
let's do it.
Get used to it. I want to, first of all, let you say kind of like, what is your tagline of what you do?
I'm an e-commerce marketer.
Okay.
I sell shit online. It's probably the best way to explain it, but currently serving as a VP of marketing for a regional grain watch company. Hate the Apple Watch, by the way.
Sorry.
Let's get that on camera. It's awful.
Sorry.
But yeah, just clearly a fashion executive.
Yeah, clearly head to toe. If we cut to wide, you can see.
Yep.
This is the guy behind all of the social ads that you're seeing.
Yep.
I want to dive into a bunch of stuff with Original Grain and what you're doing over there in the e-com space because I just find it interesting and I think that we can get a lot of good takeaways for that from the viewers. But first, I want to talk about what you've done for yourself in the personal branding space and what you've done specifically with your podcast. Plug the podcast. Tell us a little bit about what it is.
Yeah, so the personal branding stuff started years before the podcast did. And I learned, I just found a community of e-commerce marketers on Twitter and LinkedIn, and I didn't realize I was even personal branding until one day I quit a job. And I quit a job without a backup plan, and I tweeted out, hey, I quit my job this morning.
Fun.
If anyone else wants some marketing help, let me know. I'm available. Within hours, I had job offers for double the salary I was getting paid. And I was like, whoa, that's weird and life-changing. And that was kind of the first time I was like, oh, I'm building a personal brand. It's obviously gone well so far by accident. So I've continued to lean into it. And I bought a podcast mic 2 years ago just because I wanted to fire off clips. I wanted to rant for a minute on Facebook ads. I wanted to do a 3-minute spiel on our CRO's strategy. And those clips started doing well on Twitter. And I eventually was like, there are topics that I need to talk for 15 minutes about. And that probably is just a podcast at this point. So kind of stumbled into it and launched the Tactical and Practical podcast. I like the title because it rhymes.
Love it.
And I want it to be tactical and practical. I think a lot of professional content out there is really theoretical and really 30,000 foot view sometimes. But yeah. Each week, twice a week, I'm just deep diving into one tactic that's working well for us or for a guest right now. And I talk about how you could implement it for your e-com brand, whether you're doing 10 grand a month or $1 million a month or 100 million a year. There are ways to make these tactics work for you. So that's what we're digging into every episode.
Before you bought the podcast mic and before you started to lean into the clip world, what was the personal branding content that you were putting out and where were you focused on in terms of platform?
Twitter threads.
Okay.
Just writing about my experiences and challenges. It really started out as just an education tool for me. There are people, I'm not the first guy to have built a personal
You invented Twitter threads? That's crazy.
No,
wow.
It was really there to learn. I became a CMO at age 24 and
we can clap for that. We can clap for that. That's nice. We like that. Yeah.
Waiter to CMO in 3 years. That's going to be the title of my book.
It's the title of this clip too.
But became a CMO and was super pumped, and then immediately was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Nice.
I should probably figure it out. So found other CMOs on Twitter that were talking about their work, and learned from them, and just started to kind of talk about our struggles and challenges and wins and losses. And it was all just written threads on Twitter.
So then you see, I'm assuming you see what's happening in the clip world. This is what year, 18, 19?
Yeah, 19.
Just before COVID?
Yep.
And so you're like, I need to be doing clips. This is obviously where I need to be. You buy the mic. And then you start obviously seeing it's a podcast. What was your goal to get out of what did you want to accomplish with the podcast?
I just wanted to continue to build my personal brand was the first thing. I know that one day I will tweet out again that I need a new job. That's not ominous or anything. Like, I'm very happy with where I'm at.
I'm leaving.
I've said this to my owners before of like...
Owners sounds weird, but yeah.
The owners of Original Grain. Not my owners, the owners of the company I'm employed by. Anyways, this job's great. The best job I've ever had. They're great to work for. But it's unlikely that I'm going to work here till I'm 65.
Yeah.
And I just know like every good thing that's happened in my career, I got this job through that tweet I put out.
Yeah.
So one day if I ever need an opportunity again, I just kind of wanted to build that audience and build that funnel before I needed it.
We've seen over the last 2 years, but really over the last like 18 months, 12 months, we've seen a lot of people from the professional space like yourself start to realize the value in podcasting. I've been pitching to people in your shoes for years now that this is the best way to personal brand. This is the best way to generate content for yourself. This is the best content that will perform the best on feeds for you. It was a hard sell a couple years ago. Since it is really since COVID, it has started to push, I think, people in the professional space into, this is actually the content gold mine that I've kind of said that it was. But you've found a way to not only get the content piece out of it and push that on a social and a personal branding effort, but you found a way to make this profitable for yourself. You have a profitable podcast, which I'd like to also clap it up for, because having a profitable podcast is really difficult, especially when you don't have a giant name with giant named guests and discussing, super relevant mass media current event topics. How did you do that?
Yeah, so it's the benefit of having a super, super niche podcast.
Okay.
The only people that listen to my podcast are e-commerce marketers.
And me.
Right. And you shouldn't listen to it if you're not an e-commerce marketer because you're not going to like it. But because it's so niche, like there are all sorts of companies out there that are trying to reach that niche audience. So I have two sponsors, Intelligems, who's been with me since episode 1. They're a software that helps us test a bunch of things on our website, which Flex was profitable on episode 1.
Hey, come on now. Come on. We love that.
And then Postscript has come on. That's our SMS campaign platform.
Yep.
But yeah, so even though we're averaging, 1,800 views a week on 2 episodes, which is not big in terms of digital content, like that's incredibly valuable for them to get repeat exposure to that audience. And it's a good little check for me.
What was important to you when you were initially thinking of the sponsorships that you would want to pursue? How did you kind of approach that? Those
were the only 2 companies I approached, and I think those are the only 2 companies that I would approach.
2 for 2.
About 1,000.
Yep.
There's a lot of people in our industry that are real shady about promoting companies. They don't always disclose.
On the creator side, on the content creation side.
On like the e-commerce influencer side.
Okay.
They've been real shady about who they promote, how they promote them. And I don't want to be accused of being a shill or like promoting something that's not good. So I had a personal rule when I got into this, was like, I don't want to promote any company that I have not been a paying, satisfied customer for at least a year.
Nice.
So I've worked with Postscript and Intelligems for years. I've been very happy with them. When minor issues have come up, their support teams have been amazing in fixing them for us. And both of them have helped us make a ton of money. So those were 2 that I felt like I am more than willing to partner with them and promote them. There's so many people that still are like accusing people in me of like, oh, you're just shilling software.
Like as if you have a percentage of the company on the back end or something like that. Yeah.
And because some people do.
Absolutely.
And it's like, hey.
That's not just an e-com thing. That's not exclusive to e-com.
Right.
That's every creator.
Yeah. And it's like, listen, guys, I get it, but I'm going to do this podcast anyway. I might as well get paid for it.
Yeah.
The other thing, these critiques are coming from people who have never turned down $1 in their life. When, like, I can tell you, I have turned down probably 20 grand in potential sponsorships in the 8 months that I've had a podcast. Any of you turned down 20 grand recently?
And reason being?
Because it wasn't authentic. I don't use the tool, or I use the tool, but I don't love it. And it's got issues. So yeah, I don't know. Shut the fuck up. Like,
fair enough.
I'll take dollars from people that I love and trust and I'm currently using, and is what it is.
Well, I think your perspective is interesting on this too, because you're also, in what you do with Original Grain, you're also an ad buyer. So I want to pivot a little bit now from, like, you are a creator in that scenario to you're on the other side of the table. You're then looking to buy ads, and specifically I want to focus on just buying podcast placements right now. First of all, what is your take on audio only ads versus video ads?
Audio only is tough.
Okay.
It's especially tough for us because we sell fashion accessories. People need to see the watch to know if they like it or not. But even when I've worked for brands that weren't as, heavy on visuals, audio only is tough. I tend to think, and this is based on gut, not data.
Sure.
People listen to podcasts while they're doing other things. They're working, they're driving, they're working out. They are devoting some portion of their ears to listening to it, and that's it. The show has a video component. People are watching it. People are sitting on their couch or desktop or looking at their phone, but at least they're dedicating their eyes and ears to consuming the thing. And we found those video audiences to be a lot more valuable.
More senses, more attention.
Yeah.
Essentially. When you're looking at shows to select, what are main criteria that you look for? What's the first thing you look for?
The content has got to revolve around one of the niches of our product lines. Okay. So our best selling watches are made with whiskey barrel wood, military ammo crates, guitar tone wood. So the content has to be in one of those niches. Fortunately for us, there's a million creators creating whiskey content out there and doing bottle reviews and cocktail recipes. There's a lot of people doing guitar tutorials and a bunch of stuff like that. So first and foremost, the content has to be right, because just like no one that's listening to my podcast doesn't work in e-com, no one that's watching a 20-minute video where someone drinks a bottle of whiskey is not obsessed with whiskey. Yeah. And that's who I want to get in front of.
Cool. Have you worked with Fred Minnick?
No, but he's on the list right now.
Yeah. I can connect you with Fred. They're great.
Oh, okay.
They're awesome.
He just came across my feed like a couple weeks ago.
Really cool.
And I was like, we should reach out to him.
We've done a little bit of editing work for them. They're awesome.
Okay.
Fred's the man. What metrics are important to you then? Once you're like, this show fits from a brand feel perspective, now let's get into the data and make sure that it's backed up and it actually makes sense for us.
Sure. They got to be averaging 1,000 views a video on YouTube. So we can start pretty small. But that view count is how we decide payment.
Direct correlation, audience size to dollars.
To start, yes.
Okay.
So based on all of our past stuff we do, we track revenue per 1,000 views is like our North Star metric to determine how valuable an audience is. So let's say we've determined that the YouTube whiskey audience on average is worth $100 per 1,000 views to us.
Okay.
That means I only want to spend $50 per 1,000 views because we got to make a little bit of money.
Sure.
So that's how we kind of do that math to figure out like a target CPM. Then we offer them a flat fee based on their average view count.
Where do these deals break down? Because I think from your side of the table, it sounds very cut and dry. This is what we're looking for. If that is there, we will do the deal. Where do hosts and creators miss when it comes to these deals?
If an agent or a talent representative gets involved, there's like an 80% chance the deal gets killed.
Really?
Yeah.
Because?
Because they're terrible leeches.
Fair enough.
Like, especially with these like kind of smaller creators where like it's not like Morgan Wallen probably shouldn't be negotiating his own ad deals.
Yeah.
But this creator that's negotiating a deal for a few $1,000, the problem is like a lot of these individual deals, there's just not enough money to go around. I think our average deal size is like $2,000. Then you're going to bring in this other party that's going to try to get it from $2,000 to $2,500 because they take 10%.
Right.
And it's like, well, yeah, they want to make an extra whatever.
$50.
Yeah. So, if an agent gets involved, we almost like back out.
So that's a major turnoff for you.
Yeah, it's awful. Like we, because then we just tell the agent like, hey, here's what we want to do. The host or the creator sounded interested in it. This is the deal we're offering. What do you think? They usually come back and say like, well, how about we do X, Y, and Z? And we say, nope. And then it's done. On deals 2, 3, 4, and 5, on subsequent deals with the same creator, we then have performance metrics tied to that specific creator. So like we base, that deal off of the average of how our other whiskey creators perform. Within that, we have creators that overperform and underperform. So subsequent deals is where we can get more creative, where we can give a little bit more. We also have products that are worth $500, so we can send out those and people enjoy that. But those first deals, like we want to remain profitable on this channel. So we stick pretty hard and fast to our metrics.
When it comes to evaluating the performance of those deals, is it just as cut and dry as the metrics are that you're looking at coming into it? If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell, and we don't do this again?
Yeah. There's been very few cases where like something hasn't performed great, but we loved it, so we're willing to do it again.
Loved it for what reason?
We just like the content.
Okay.
We like there are.
Are you getting whitelisted content to like? Can you use that as well in your marketing?
At times, we ask for that in every deal. Some creators say no, but that's a portion of it. There are also things where like it's gotten 1 million views. The revenue didn't pencil out the way we thought it would. We probably broke even on it, but it's like, well, the way that we track attribution on it is pretty narrow. So I can say, well, worst case scenario, we broke even.
Yep.
Based on someone had to click the link in their description and buy it right away, or we don't attribute it to that creator. So we're looking at like a worst case scenario at attribution. If I can prove we broke even on it and we love the content or got a ton of views or the whitelisted content is working in ads, then we're willing to keep on working with that.
How has the space from your perspective evolved? You've been doing this for how many years, buying podcast ads?
Yeah, 2018.
Okay, so you're looking at 7 years?
Yep.
How have you seen things shift over time?
Crypto fucked it up.
Tell me.
Crypto, all these FTX and all these other platforms came in and spent insane amounts of money to creators that didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Created this massive bubble that is
meaning the numbers didn't justify it.
Correct.
Yeah.
They were paying a creator $10,000 that I would only pay $2,000.
Got it.
All these creators didn't understand that like, hey, that's not your baseline rate increasing.
Like, hey, shut up and take the money.
That's an industry that's just has a bunch of people that are embezzling money that have to spend it before they go to jail. Like that wasn't real. And like,
well, and that example of FTX obviously is the prime example for it.
Yeah. So they're starting to come back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
We had a year or two there where like creators were like, no, we're worth way more than you're offering. And I'm like, well, not to me.
Sure.
Like if that's what you're getting from someone else, great.
Yeah.
The other thing we've seen, it's rare you find a creator where every single piece of content is sponsored. So they can tell me that they want $10,000 a video, but I can see that you just posted 2 videos without a sponsor.
Sure.
So it's like, just because you're getting $10,000 from someone else, my $2,000 for the next video is still just adding $2,000
because it looks like you have open slots.
Yeah. So if they're not selling out every video, then I know there's opportunity to work them down.
That makes sense. How much of a song and dance are you being put through? Because I mean, just in the limited interactions that I've had in your space, a lot of times people do try to play games and it's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, and
YouTube numbers are public, audio numbers are not, so that can get fudged. Like I just think it can be really muddy waters.
Yeah, that's why, again, for us being in fashion and because the numbers are public, we like going off those YouTube metrics. And in the past, we've wasted a lot of time negotiating with creators and like trying to make deals work. But now that we have all this data, we know what works for us. We can be pretty nonchalant about it. Like, hey, listen, we've done the average of your last 10 videos. We like the audience. Here's what we can pay you. They might be able to talk us up 5 or 10%, but like that's pretty much it. And that's worked in our favor because we're essentially willing to walk away from any deal. So a creator might ask for a ton more. We say no, and they say, okay, let's do it. So we've limited our amount of time we're negotiating with each creator, which is great. It's the hardest and most tedious and most time-consuming part of this, and we've been able to cut that down a little bit.
Pivoting over to regular paid social, how has that space evolved since you got into it? We can move on from the podcasting ad buying now, looking at just like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, all of those things. How has that space changed over time?
It's gotten way easier.
Easier how?
Which is a contrarian take.
Okay.
In the industry.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Because all I'm hearing is like, you don't have as much data as you used to have. The rates are high. Da da da.
Yeah, which is all true, but it takes less work. And to me, I think what we have lost a little bit in efficiency has been made up for. And like, well, we don't have to pay an agency $30,000 a month to run it anymore. We can spend that $30,000 on ads, which will produce anywhere from $60,000 to $120,000 in revenue. So like that more than makes up for it. But yeah, we've seen a really kind of consolidated account structure. Right now, I am running all of our paid media ads, which would have been unheard of 4 years ago. Okay. In fact, when I got this job, like we were paying an agency a lot of money to run it, but it's gotten really simple. CPMs are a little bit higher these days. It's certainly not what it was like in early 2010s.
What's a little bit higher percentage-wise?
I mean, double.
Okay.
What it was 6 years ago.
Okay.
Probably. But at the same time, like last year, we had the biggest and best year in company history. We spent 90% of our ad dollars on Facebook. So
wow,
you can get better at marketing. You can get better at creative. You can get better at CRO faster than the price of Facebook ads are increasing.
90% of that spend going to Facebook ads. Compare why 90% to Facebook and only 10% allotted for other platforms. And what are those other platforms?
Last year we spent 8% on Google and 2% on influencers, creators.
No TikTok stuff?
Nope.
Why?
It sucks. Because the year before last year, we wasted 6 figures trying to get TikTok ads to work, and they never did.
Why do you think that is? It was the same ad campaigns?
Yeah, same.
Content, everything the same?
We started with some of the same content. When that didn't work, we tried to make it more like TikTok-y content, aka cringe and corny bad content.
Sure.
That didn't work either. It's just not as developed as an ad platform, and I also think the audience isn't there for it. Like, TikTok is for quick dopamine spiking scrolling for a couple hours. People do not want to leave that app. People are there to escape, to be in their own little world of content for an hour before bed, or 10 minutes on the toilet or whatever. Like, they're not there to browse.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the audience is wrong for it. It's especially wrong for us with a $300 AOV.
Yeah.
I have yet to see a case study of a brand that's crushing it on TikTok that isn't predicated on a 50% off discount, which as a watch company, we are not comfortable doing.
Can you break out AOV?
Average order value.
I don't want to do acronyms on this show.
Got it.
One, because I don't know them. Two, because I like that the audience needs to know them.
On average, people spend $300 on our store. The only things I've seen work on TikTok, their average order value is like under $50, and at that, it's discounted a ton.
How do you approach that, even just back onto Facebook where you guys got this thing locked in, higher ticket items versus lower ticket items? How is that a nuanced approach? What does that look like?
It definitely is, but I see it as an advantage for us on Facebook because I can spend more to acquire a customer than a lot of other brands.
It kind of buys you more breathing room.
Yeah, and the way we overcome that is showcasing the value of our product through our copy and through our content. We spend We invest quite a bit in like really high quality studio content of our products. Then we spend a lot of time researching why people are really buying from us. So it's obvious to be like, well, if someone buys a watch to tell time, but spoiler alert, that's not why the watch category exists. Men wear watches, real men who don't wear Apple Watches. Real men wear watches for status and for confidence.
Yeah.
They use it to mark a milestone. And the women who buy watches for men aren't buying it to help them tell time or even to accessorize them. They are attempting to show their appreciation for a man who works hard to provide for the family. So your ad changes from like, hey, buy this watch. It's inlaid with whiskey barrel wood. It feels cool. He'll love it. It turns into show your man he's worth it.
Nice. With
a gift as unique and storied as he is. So now it's like, hey, you're not spending $300 to buy a watch. You're spending $300 to show your husband you appreciate, value, and love him.
Can you say the tagline again? I love it.
Show your man he's worth every second with a gift as unique and storied as he is.
How fire is that?
Pretty fire.
That makes me want to buy you a watch.
Yeah.
Just not
take it.
how unique and storied are you? You know, that's amazing.
Not written by me. Would love to take credit.
ChatGPT?
No, Sarah.
Nice.
Pay,
nice, Sarah. She's great, dude.
Yeah, no, yeah. Sarah Levinger, marketing psychologist, I think she's calling herself these days.
She's a ninja in my mind.
Yeah, I was like, I have to sell these to women. I don't know how to do that. Let me go hire a girl.
Yeah, she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, crushed it. So like that takes a lot of that price objection out of it because like you're buying a lot more than, gears and some wood.
When it comes to, I want to circle back on the AI stuff. So if you're waiting on that, we'll come back to it. Stick around. But I want to focus on the content for a second. I asked you about audio versus video ads when it came to podcasting. When it comes to paid social ad, static versus dynamic.
Static photo and graphics have dominated for the last couple of years.
Okay.
In the last few months, we've gotten some videos to really hit.
Okay.
What has been interesting is in years past, videos were much more expensive to serve. Like in some cases, double the CPM.
Wow.
So where it might cost me $8 to show a static to 1,000 people, it was costing me $16 to send a video to 1,000 people. So, they always did okay, but they weren't working better than statics enough to overcome the increase in cost. But the last few months, we've seen those prices kind of start to even out and kind of start to meet in the middle a little bit. So we are starting to do a lot more video. Too early to tell if like that's going to be the bulk of our strategy. We're still promoting like 80% statics, but video's starting to earn its way back in.
Everybody is like, people don't want high produced content, especially video. People want the raw stuff. Are you guys doing or is that video highly produced? Like, is it studio product shoot stuff? Or is it more raw, like with an iPhone type thing?
We're doing a mix of it.
Okay.
I fundamentally disagree with people like people don't want highly produced stuff.
Yes.
It shouldn't look like an ad. Sometimes it should.
Yes.
When you're selling a $300 luxury item that no one needs, where the details matter, sometimes it should.
Yep. I think that's propaganda.
I think so too.
I think that's a lot of creators telling themselves that, because I think a lot of the people who are saying that also want to sell you a course to make content.
Yes.
So it's like I think a lot of people are like, we'll get into it. I think a lot of people are like, oh, course culture, yeah, I'll torch it. I think a lot of people are selling the courses that say like, here's my master plan of how you should do your content, and then they're like, and buying a $2,800 camera setup shouldn't hold you back. You have a phone, right? Good. Then spend that money on my course instead, and then you're good to go. I just think
it opens up their TAM to everyone with an iPhone. TAM, total addressable market.
Thank you. It is just like it's a disinformation operation where they were just like, well, if we can tell people that the barrier to entry is so low because people actually don't want quality stuff. Yeah. It's like, no, of course you do. That's why you watch Netflix and not your neighbor's TikTok feed. Right. Or if you got a fire neighbor, I don't know. But like, I just think it's a lie.
I couldn't agree more. And it's so interesting to see, and this dovetails into the AI conversation. Everybody is on a race to the bottom on like creative cost. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to make the cheapest creative. I want to make the best creative.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a controversial take, but it is.
Yeah.
And I think people like talking about it and like promoting it and like selling it because it's cheap for them to make.
Yes.
Now, I'll say we have videos and photos that I've taken of my watch on an iPhone that does well. Mm-hmm. but 80% of our ads are super highly produced in a studio like this with a camera and 7 lights on it to get the photo exactly right. And most commonly, the photo you see of our watches is 40 photos stitched together. Like
how NASA takes the pictures of the Earth. Allegedly. Yep. That's for a different podcast.
There's fine print on their website that says they're not photos, they're all graphically designed images. Anyways.
NASA, that's the NASA. I don't even know what it stands for. Yeah, go ahead though.
I don't know. The S stands for satanic.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Going back to AI. Are you using it? If yes, how are you using it?
Yeah, me and Chat talk every day.
Love Chat.
Chat's a good guy. He's a good writer. It's all about how you prompt it.
Yeah.
I'm spending more and more time these days trying to build out a doc that talks about who we are as a brand, what we stand for, what we represent, why we do what we do. And I'm spending a lot of time writing out like who our ideal customers are, what they value, what they feel, what they want to feel when they put a watch on. Because the more information you're giving it, the better things it'll give back to you.
That doc is to feed to Chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like we found, there was a joke about it a couple months ago where it's like, shout out to everyone who's about to launch their spooktacular savings sale for Halloween.
Nice.
Because they didn't tell Chat enough about who they are, why they exist, and who they're selling to.
Nice.
I think it defaults to corniness and like puns because like that's what it has to come up with when you don't give it enough information. But we found like prompting it is able to write really thoughtful, heartwarming copy that you wouldn't expect a robot to be able to write because of everything we fed it on the front end.
It's so, like in my experience with it over the last couple of years, it's so amazing to see the difference in how much better it's gotten for me because I've gotten better for it. Like it's like it looks at you and it's just like, help me help you, bro. Yeah. Like just give me more of what like the context is that you're looking for. Give me a framework and I can be such a better employee for you. We use one to produce a little bit of this show. I'm testing it out a little bit with that. It's been fantastic. We're doing the same thing over on Clip Farm, which is the other show that we do out of the studio. I'd love to get to a point where we can start bringing it to the table for clients as well, because I think if you can really hone in on what we bring into, hey, here's your brand Bible basically for whatever we're doing, give me X, Y, Z, and it's going to crush every time.
Yeah.
How do you think that it's going to affect your industry going forward? How does it affect e-com going forward?
I don't know. There's a whole lot of new softwares out there based on AI, which from what I can tell are basically just ChatGPT and a cute little wrapper.
Yeah.
I think 90% of them are going to fail and not be anything impactful.
So many companies just have AI in the name now.
Yeah. If you
just to raise funds.
If you change your domain from .com to .ai, you can go raise 10 million in a pre-seed, pre-revenue round.
Write that down.
Like
LegosCreative.ai.
Easily, dude. Like you actually would print, dude.
I thought about when it really started to take off.
And don't change anything about the business.
Nothing changes.
No,
it's the same site.
Just .ai.
When things started to take off with like Opus clips, like that, which if you don't know is just you can upload video to it, and then it's an AI platform that will. They say they go through it and they curate like the best viral moments and they give you virality ratings on them on a scale of 1 to 100. If you ask me, it's garbage. It's just not there yet. But when that happened, I think I called you and was like, bro, what if I made a program that took our entire process? Like that, I think that's the best thing about us besides like just our experience in the space. We have a process locked in of how to do podcasts, from the production to the distribution to the marketing to the monetization. Like the whole thing is so streamlined behind the scenes, and I'm so proud of it. And I was like, we could just wrap this up and put it into something that actually gets it based on our experience. But even then, it's like, how do you get that experience into the machine? Yeah. Because there's certain things when it comes to creative, like content curation, it can only get so good.
Well, and like I've seen it work great as a copywriter and a copywriting partner. I haven't seen it do much great outside of that.
Sure.
Like Postscript, the sponsor of the Tactical and Practical podcast.
Double plug.
They have a new tool that's allowing us to essentially AI test hundreds of message variants that we wouldn't be able to write on our own. and that's producing more revenue. It's beating what I put into it.
Wow.
So like, that's great. Love that. More tools like that are fantastic. I wish we could do something similar like on our website landing pages. I wish we could do something similar on our Facebook ads. But outside of copywriting, it hasn't impressed me yet.
Yeah.
Hope it gets there one day, but for now, it's just a great writer. And let me correct that. It's not a great writer. It can just do volume like humans can't.
Sure. I would agree with that. All of our email blasts are written by ChatGPT. I make subtle changes to them, but for the most part, it's that. It's also because I don't really speak like corporate marketer very well.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like writing an email blast, like we just switched our booking system over to a new system that like there's advantages to it that like I wanted to communicate. And
Where can you go if you're trying to book studio time here?
You can go to lagoscreative.ai. No, just kidding. lagoscreative.co. And you can book studio time with us, or you could hit us up to do turnkey podcasting stuff nationwide. Where was I? What was I doing? You made me plug something. What was I talking about?
Oh, we were talking about
the tone of voice.
Tone of voice. I don't speak. Yeah, I don't speak corporate marketer. I just to me, it's always been cringe. Like I just don't like it, so I never have really learned how to do it.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt that it does work in the right application. And so when I go to an email blast and I'm like, hey, we're moving over to this new booking site, and I just tell it, here's who we are and here's what we do, and then here's what is important to highlight in this thing, and it goes, yeah, you can do recurring bookings. Yeah, you can do multiple slots in the same transaction. Yeah, and all of that is built out. It's like, okay, cool. The one we sent out yesterday, I copied and pasted.
Yeah.
I added a couple emojis.
Nice.
And I asked it to give me the emojis.
Nice.
I just was like, hey, based on this one and this one, I just need an emoji on either side. Which would you use? And it was like the calendar and the repeat arrow thing.
Yeah, the new version's gotten a lot better at research. Like you can, like, because now it gives you like sources and stuff that you can like, because before it just like gave you a bunch of stuff, and you're like, where'd you get it
Did
from?
you
And it's
make
like,
this up?
I have
literally.
dude's like,
And
I don't
it
know.
did.
Yeah, half the time it was just like, Now it gives you like links. Like I'm selling like used golf clubs.
Right.
And instead of going on eBay and finding what the market price is, you can be like, hey, what can I sell a used set of blah, blah, blah for? And it pulls up like on eBay, they're this. On secondswing.com, they're this.
Nice.
And you can do the same thing with like if you're researching literally anything. Like what is the average male willing to pay for a watch?
Nice.
Right? And it'll pull up, and obviously it pulls up the top
Nate's
of the list.
podcast.
Yeah. But like you can ask it random stuff like that. And then it's gotten a lot more accurate than it used to be, because before it literally would just make stuff up.
It still gets wild stuff wrong though. Like
It will.
I've started to use it for everything. Like it's replacing Google for me pretty quickly.
Yep.
And this spring, teammate of mine from Bryant who pitched for the Guardians for a while. He at one point I know gave up a home run in the playoffs to the Yankees, and I was trying to find which game it was, and it wouldn't find it. But initially it lied. It gave me the wrong game. And then I went to the box score to look, and he didn't even appear in the game. And I was like, that's weird. I asked it, are you sure? And it gave me another lie. And it's elaborate lies.
Yeah.
It's like gave up a home run to Aaron Judge in the 2021 ALCS Game 4. And I was like, I went to it and I was like, he didn't play in that game.
Yeah.
Eventually I found it, but not through that. I had to go myself. And again, that was 6 months ago. So a lot has changed, I'm sure, because that's just how that industry works. But like, it's just making shit up sometimes.
Even still, 90% of the time, I'd say if you ask it, are you sure? It'd say my bad and change its answer.
Just because?
Even if it was right. If you ask, are you sure? It'll change it.
Yeah, it's more emotional than I'd like it to be. Because like, it'll like, if you pressure it, it'll back off. Like, oh, no, sorry. And it's like, aren't you, you're supposed to not have that feature.
You're like, have some backbone, dude. Stand on business. What are you doing?
Like, I know, and I don't understand at all about how it's programmed or what it even is. But honestly, I want it to be more like a robot, because it shouldn't be able to lie.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be able to get stuff wrong. And if it gets it wrong, dude, stand on it.
Yeah.
Be like, no, I'm right. Like just gaslight us. I don't care.
I want Yay GPT. I want the conviction of Kanye in my chatbot.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Where he's like, no, and even if I'm wrong now, I'm gonna be right tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wait.
I want Alex Jones GPT.
Yeah. Give it time. You'll see, dude. They're making the frogs. Yeah, dude. All of that. I don't know, man. It's that said though, I am finding more and more uses the more and more that I learn how to speak to it. And I think just the more that like I zoom out on our business and look at what we do, there's so many places where you can inject it.
Yeah. And going back to your like help getting it the tone of voice right for like corporate speak.
Yeah.
I have used it as we've expanded our product line into different niches. So like I'm a whiskey guy, writing copy for whiskey guys comes naturally to me.
Yeah.
But when we launched our new collection that has coffee beans sealed in resin inlaid in our watches, I'm not a coffee guy. I'm a Red Bull guy.
You don't know coffee terminology.
When I tried to write copy for it, I was like, get a Red Bull. Like, why aren't we making watches out of reclaimed Red Bull cans?
Yeah.
Like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
But what I was able to do was I was able to write the copy for whiskey.
You were like, coffee up that money and buy yourself a watch. You can take that. You can take that.
Thanks.
I know you use it.
I won't, thanks. But if I do, it's owned by me and you're not entitled to any profits from it. I wrote copy for whiskey. Yep. I wrote copy that was like, whether you like sipping on Pappy Van Winkle or doing a shot of Jack Daniels, this watch is perfect for you.
Cool.
I gave that to chat and I said, write this for coffee.
Yep.
And it came back and said, whether you cherish the flavor of a rich handcrafted Italian espresso or prefer to drink your coffee black, this watch is for you.
Cool.
And I was like, great. Thanks, chat.
Yeah, that'll work.
So it's pretty good.
That's cool. I like that.
No.
Were you going to say something?
No.
Perfect.
Cool.
What is going to work for podcast advertising in 2025?
Selling a good product has never been more important.
No, but you know what? Let's pause on that. That doesn't get said.
At every TikTok shop's
Why
success story.
doesn't that get said? Hey, maybe your product sucks. Maybe that's why it didn't convert.
I don't know. It's getting said more now.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying it more now.
Yeah.
But like there's been so many times where like, and to be honest, it doesn't get said now because it wasn't always true. From 2012 to 2021, you could sell shit online and make so much money. It was stupid.
Yeah.
And then that changed between iOS 14, between COVID money running out, between Facebook ads getting more expensive. That doesn't work anymore. So sell great products that are very aligned with the creator you are sponsoring. So like for us, like the only time that Original Grain has ever sponsored a show that wasn't super niche was a comedian who had recently been canceled and all his sponsors dropped him.
Fun.
So I was like, how cheap can we get ads for? And ads that used to cost $40,000, I was getting for $3,000.
I know who this is.
So it was great. And that worked for a while. But outside of that, we have to stay within our niches because we know that audience like has the right density of people that would be interested with us. So sell a great product that is aligned with the audience of your creator. And then just make sure they are promoting it consistently and frequently enough to match whatever you're selling. So for us, again, $300 higher ticket item, we're doing runs of 3 to 6 spots with the same creator in the month to 2 months before Christmas because we know people are going to have to think about it. They're going to have to ask their husband, hey, what do you want for Christmas? The wife asks the husband that 3 times. He says, I don't know. On the 4th time, he's finally like, I saw this watch the other day. If you're selling a lower priced item, 6 episodes is probably a lot. But just make sure the frequency and kind of the cadence and calendar of it match up with seasonalities in your business and anything else you're trying to piggyback on.
Who's a brand that you look at that you admire how they play the game? Products aside, just the way that they play the game.
Play what game?
How they approach. Fair. What's a brand that you admire the way that they approach their paid advertising, whether it be partnerships or whether it be paid social?
Yeah, Ridge Wallet's doing a really good job, and has been doing a really good job for a long time, both on paid social and their creator strategy.
They've crushed in podcasting, obviously.
Yeah, they just hired MGHKD or whatever that creator is.
Yep.
Do you have any idea who
Marquise?
Yeah. Okay. They just hired him on like a 40-year deal as their like chief creator.
Awesome.
And like that's the deal I'm keeping an eye on to see like could we do a smaller version of that? But yeah, they crush it from everything they do. It's really good. My marketing strategy, if you listen to the Tactical and Practical podcast, is more or less like look at what Ridge does, figure out a way to do that at a business that doesn't have the budget that Ridge has, and it's worked out pretty well for us.
You just had who from there on?
I've had Sean Frank, the CEO, on. I've had Connor McDonald, the CMO, on twice.
Both good episodes.
Connor comes on and we talk about writing copy with AI specifically.
Nice.
So that's a good one. But yeah, those guys are great.
Awesome. Completely random question, just because I've heard about it and I don't know anything about it.
Sure.
What is live shopping?
I don't know yet.
'Kay.
Sorry, I know what it is. I don't know what it's going to be yet.
Okay.
Live shopping is a live stream where people are trying to sell stuff. Think like old school QVC,
Okay.
but today, in the mediums and channels and apps that we all use now.
So you're just on like TikTok Live,
Yep.
being like, here's this watch.
Yep.
It costs $350.
Yep.
You should buy it. And then how do you just tap to buy?
Yep, depending on what platform you're on. TikTok has shops. YouTube now has an integration with Shopify that's working pretty well, which is the platform that most e-com stores are built on. It's big in other countries. It's really big in Asia right now. It's big on TikTok in
Everything's
general.
really big in Asia compared to
Except for...
the people. What is that? Are you listing things?
Yeah.
What are they?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Go ahead, dude.
I got you.
Uh-huh. The serving sizes.
The civil liberties.
Okay.
Anyways. Yeah, I don't know. I know some brands that have had success with it on TikTok in the US.
Yep.
But people that are selling stuff for really cheap and half off. So we'll see what the future of it holds. Let's see if TikTok is around. See what happens.
By the time this goes out, it might not be.
Yeah. I don't know anyone that's like building a business on it right now.
Okay. Would it just be a commission model for the actual streamers?
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
That's insane, man. Wow. Okay. I think I'm stealing this question from you. I love this question.
It's a good
I
one.
think you're the one who told me. What is something that we haven't touched on today that you wish that I would have asked you about?
I should be prepared for this because this is my favorite
your question, right?
to
Yeah.
ask at the end of every interview. I think whether people know it or not, they are creators. And creating content and creating a personal brand should be something on every professional's mind. It doesn't have to be start a podcast or start a TikTok, but you should find a way to essentially just network. Like that's kind of what I think personal branding is. It's just modern day networking.
Nice.
Where like you used to go to a meetup or a happy hour or a dinner and shake everyone's hands and tell them what you do and discuss the challenges you've had, the wins you've had. That's how you built your network. You can do that online. So I don't care whether you choose podcasting or vlogging or writing blogs or going on Reddit or on LinkedIn. I think professionals are not putting enough emphasis on networking in a digital age. And I think it's really important. I've massively benefited from it. And I know like when we've had talks about the future of my career is like, dude, without a doubt, I can send out a tweet today and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And again, it's coming from someone with 3,500 followers on Twitter and 900 views an episode on his podcast. Like the numbers don't have to get massive if the audience is right. So the thing that I wish you asked me was like, how important is this?
Yep.
It's the most important thing professionals could and should be doing.
Entrepreneur or
employee doesn't matter.
Cool. That's awesome, man.
If you're an employee, your bosses might not love it. I'm fortunate enough to have bosses that get it and understand it and respect it. So be careful about what you share out there. I don't share all of our company details online. Obviously, it's not my company to do that with. But yeah, as an employee, you should absolutely be doing this.
Cool. Love it, dude. Well, thanks for coming on. I think this was awesome. If you liked what you watched, if you liked what you heard, hit subscribe, share it with somebody, like, comment, let us know. We're cranking these things out. Hopefully you've seen a bunch of episodes by now. So stay tuned. We got more coming. And go check out Nate's show, Tactical and Practical. We'll link it in the description. Love you. See ya.